Prepare to unleash your darkest fears with Prime Video's top 10 scary horror movies. From heart-pounding scares to twisted tales of terror, these disturbing selections will haunt your dreams. Number 10. Kiss of the Damned. Paolo, a screenwriter seeking quiet to finish his next script in a secluded Connecticut summer house, becomes captivated by Juna, an alluring woman whose mystery runs deep. As their bond grows, Paolo discovers Juna is a vampire surviving on animal blood, and he slowly accepts the darkness she embodies. Their lives are further complicated when Mimi, Juna's unpredictable and estranged sister, arrives, bringing chaos in her wake that threatens not just Paolo and Juna's love, but the delicate rules governing their supernatural world. The film blends erotic gothic romance with vintage 70s vampire motifs, exploring what love looks like when mortality, desire, and forbidden impulses collide under moonlight. Number 9. The Transfiguration.
I think it starts with drinking blood. Like you have a need.
Milo, a 14-year-old orphan living in Brooklyn with his older brother, retreats into vampire lore as a refuge from bullying, poverty, and grief. Obsessed with rules about vampires, hunting in the night, feeding only under certain conditions, he isolates himself while also scavenging for real victims in dark alleys and public restrooms to satisfy his cravings. When Sophie, another troubled teen haunted by loss, moves into his building, they form a fragile friendship, and Milo begins to question whether his vampiric obsession is a safe escape or a dangerous mirror to his inner darkness. Directed by Michael O'Shea, The Transfiguration is a moody, intimate horror drama that blurs the line between fantasy and reality, exploring trauma, identity, and the monstrous impulses we hide. Number 8. Excision.
Some of your behavior has been downright sociopathic. I don't know a teenager.
Pauline, a deeply disturbed high school student, feels trapped by her rigid, strongly Christian mother and craves approval she never seems to get. She's haunted by morbid fantasies, dreams of blood, surgeries, and mutilation that blur the line between her imagination and reality, while also taking on her responsibilities at home, especially caring for her younger sister who suffers from cystic fibrosis. As Pauline's obsessions grow, so do her attempts to escape the dull suburban shame and adolescent alienation she feels. Excision is a shocking coming-of-age nightmare where body horror, dark sexuality, and grotesque dreams collide to expose the fragile boundary between wanting to heal and being consumed by what you wish to fix. Number 7. In My Skin. Esther is a Parisian marketing professional whose life seems comfortably ordinary. Good job, steady boyfriend, plans for the future. Until one night at a work party, she injures her leg and things begin to unravel. After the accident, she becomes obsessively preoccupied with her own body, the injury, the flesh, the sensation of pain. What starts as fascination becomes self-harm as she uses knives, scissors, and any sharp object she can find, increasingly testing the limits of her body and her mind. Relationships strain. Reality blurs. In My Skin is a harrowing psychological horror that explores self-mutilation, bodily autonomy, and the desperation to feel something real when numbness takes over. Number 6. American Mary.
That shouldn't come as a surprise to you. Been changing specialties, Dr. Grant.
Mary Mason, a talented medical student buried under debt and desperation, accepts a job at a strip club to make ends meet and ends up thrust into the shadowy underground of extreme body modification. As she begins to perform cutting-edge, gruesome surgeries for clients who want to physically transform themselves in dangerous, unconventional ways, Mary's life spirals into moral torment. She's torn between ambition, guilt, and the shocking lengths she'll go to reclaim control over her body and identity. American Mary is a visceral body horror thriller that delves into the taboo of flesh, the power of consent, and what happens when artistry turns into obsession. Number 5. The Eyes of My Mother. Francisca grows up on a remote farmhouse learning from her mother, once a surgeon, about anatomy and removing animal eyes, taught to see beyond the ordinary. A tragic intrusion shatters her childhood, introducing trauma and loss that set her on a path of profound isolation. As she becomes an adult, Francisca's longing for connection warps into something dark and uncanny, her quiet home turning into a space of obsession, grief, and distorted love. Directed by Nicolas Pesce, this black and white horror debuts with a mesmerizing art house descent into loneliness, using silence, stark visuals, and chilling restraint to explore what happens when the human desire for closeness goes catastrophically wrong. Number 4. Tetsuo 2. Body Hammer. Taniguchi Tomu is a mild-mannered salaryman with a wife and young son, but beneath the surface of his everyday life lies secrets he can't quite remember, like being adopted at age 8, when his son is kidnapped by a brutal gang of metal-worshipping skinheads. Tomu is forced into a violent confrontation with his past and his body. Injected by strange chemical agents and pushed to extremes by rage and grief, he begins transforming into something part flesh, part weapon, a machine monstrosity with deadly force. The film is a savage cyberpunk horror that marries visceral body horror with themes of industrial alienation, loss, and the terrifying idea that in anger, we might become the weapon we fear. Number 3. Juan of the Dead.
Los disidentes son lentos. Por lo menos eso está a nuestro favor.
Y al parecer aguantan mucho el dolor. Me parece que están drogados.
Juan is a slacker in Havana living a laid-back life with his friend Lazaro, barely scraping by, drinking, and avoiding responsibility. When strange, horrifying incidents begin, bodies that aren't dead, people attacking each other, Juan realizes something more sinister than political dissidents is overwhelming the city. The dead are walking. Seizing opportunity amid the calamity, Juan starts a business called Juan of the Dead, charging families to kill and dispose of their zombified loved ones. As the zombie plague spreads, survival becomes messy, allegiances shift, morality blurs, and Juan's makeshift enterprise tests the limits of what people will do when civilization collapses. The film is a sharp, dark comedy horror that uses zombie chaos as both absurd entertainment and biting satire of social and political dysfunction. Number 2. Taxidermia. Spanning 3 grotesque generations of Hungarian men, Taxidermia opens with Moroscovagni, a sexually repressed soldier trapped in a hellish outpost during World War II, whose disturbing fantasies ignite a legacy of obsession and shame. His son Kalman, raised in a communist Hungary, becomes a professional competitive eater, gorging himself to grotesque proportions in pursuit of glory. Decades later, Kalman's own son Lahoska, frail and quiet, works in solitude as a taxidermist, trying to make sense of the monstrous history he's inherited through flesh and ritual. Each chapter is more surreal and horrific than the last, blending brutal physicality with surreal visuals. Taxidermia is a nightmarish body horror odyssey of excess, repression, and legacy, where the human body is the battlefield for history, trauma, and transformation. Number 1. Shadow of the Vampire.
Well, you don't get him,
Who didn't just play the part.
but you're not feeding.
German director F.W. Murnau sets out in 1921 to shoot Nosferatu, an unauthorized adaptation of Bram Stoker's Dracula, with the ambition of making the most authentic vampire movie imaginable. He hires the reclusive Max Schreck to play Count Orlok, claiming Schreck is a method actor who remains in character, works only by night, and never breaks the illusion of the monster. As the shoot progresses and strangeness mounts among the cast and crew, rumors and fears escalate. What if Schreck is not acting at all? When sickness, fear, and obsession weave tighter around the production, reality and artifice blur. The film twists behind-the-scenes filmmaking into a gothic mystery that forces us to confront how far one will go and how much one will lose in pursuit of cinematic truth. Here are 4 other movies you have to see. The Night Watchman.
Gear up. Let's go kill some dead people.
3 bumbling security guards working the graveyard shift at a Baltimore newspaper office face a blood-soaked nightmare when a mysterious delivery unleashes vampiric clowns into the building. As chaos spreads, they must team up with a rookie and a reporter to survive until morning. It's a gory, over-the-top horror comedy with bite and brutal laughs. The Deep House. A pair of urban explorers dive into a sunken house in a remote French lake, hoping to uncover something creepy for their channel. But what they find beneath the water is a perfectly preserved home hiding terrifying secrets. As the walls close in, Their air runs low and supernatural forces awaken. Thanatomorphos. A young woman in a decaying relationship wakes up to find her body slowly rotting, piece by piece. Her flesh peels, bruises bloom, and bones crack. But no medical explanation can stop the relentless decomposition. It's a deeply disturbing descent into body horror and emotional alienation. Blood Vessel.
Shifters. They move by night, hunting. I've been killing monsters for years. A few more won't hurt.
Stranded at sea during World War II, a group of survivors boards an abandoned Nazi vessel drifting silently in the dark. What awaits them inside isn't salvation, but an ancient evil sealed below deck. As the bodies pile up, the line between war horror and supernatural terror vanishes.